Senior Director of Federal Affairs, Eric Heighberger, for a conversation with FP's Andrew Sollinger.
So as you may have noticed, we are not Senator John Curtis. Senator Curtis is en route. He will be here momentarily. So we've just done a quick little discussion flip, so thanks so much for bearing with us. But he will be here in a few moments. But I am super thrilled to bring forward this discussion about how global sports builds bridges and really focus on the Olympics. We've talked about lots of different elements of sport. We've focused on the World Cup. We've focused on U.S. sports franchises expanding globally. We've talked about nascent global sports that aren't prevalent in the U.S. and how they're going here, the collegiate level. So there's so much that we've covered, but we haven't really dug into the Olympics, and I'm excited to do that right now. So Eric and Ethan, thank you so much for joining and being with us today. That's great. So let's just kind of dig into what you're doing right now. I would imagine it is sucking up like a sponge what's happening with FIFA. And Eric, what lessons is Los Angeles learning from preparing to host the the World Cup this summer?
Yeah, thanks for the question. And I promised my colleagues, everybody in LA, I would start off with the number 772. That is how many days we have till we kick off.
Oh my! So that's the countdown clock on the wall?
That is the countdown. We have it on our computers every day, and are reminded about it every day. So we're obviously excited to see the World Cup, see what happens. There are going to be a lot of lessons learned. So we're carefully observing and going to see what happens both in LA and throughout the country. So like any big sporting event, we're going to be looking at security preparations, we're going to be looking at transportation, we're going to be looking at the fan experience, we're going to be looking at moving people in and out of the venues. So there are a lot of things that we can learn both from World Cup and from just other big sporting events like the Super Bowl. We sort of on the other hand too, we are going to be have some fundamental differences, just that we're having over 50 venues for LA 28 for the Olympics and the Paralympics. So we're going to have a lot more venues. We're obviously going to be, even though we have events throughout the country, we've got some in Oklahoma City, we've got soccer cities. We are going to be a lot more condensed too. So we're going to have a lot more events than World Cup, but certainly we're going to be watching World Cup. We've got an observers program, so we're going to have people there. And we have been in very close contact with them sort of over the past year or so. I was actually just over at the White House Task Force offices the other day and talking to them. So we're going to learn as it sort of goes along during the World Cup, and then after the World Cup, I'm sure we'll sit down.
So not just observing, or are you involved? Is LA 28 involved in the games that are taking place coming up this summer?
We're not necessarily involved, but we are. We talk to our, like I said, we talk to our FIFA colleagues all the time, and are excited to learn from them.
And one of just to kind of the last question on this topic and to dig in, I don't know where you are on your, it's 772? Is that
772?
772. So I don't know where you are in that cycle and what happens at 771. But a lot of the discussion that's going on right now around the World Cup is around ticket prices and ticketing, transport issues, which have been huge. How are you approaching those infrastructure, challenges that come with host and transportation challenges, and security and housing challenges that come with hosting a mega event?
It's a pretty loaded question. That's a pretty long question. I'll try to answer it succinctly in that all of those are things that we have teams with LA 28 that are working on. One of the differences between us and the World Cup is that we were designated NSSE, a National Special Security Event, actually back in 2024. Mm-hmm. I think this is the earliest that the Secretary of Homeland Security has ever declared an NSSE. So that sort of fundamentally changes how we approach security. So that puts, certainly the security is going to be a state, local, federal cooperation. Right. But with the NSSE, the Secret Service has a bigger role, I think, than they did or are having with the World Cup. So
got it.
We're actually very excited about that. But security, obviously, like we will be planning for 772 days. it takes up a lot of our time and thought. Transportation too, obviously, as you mentioned, we will have more than 13 million tickets that are sold, so we have to move a lot of people in and out of venues, in and out of LA. We also, at a specific venue, will have multiple games or events in the same day. So we're going it's not just like we have one event. It's not like we just have like one swimming thing a day at SoFi Field now. Like we will have 3 or 4 sessions.
So it's continuous.
Yeah, it's continuous. So, it's akin to having several Super Bowls a day for a period of 2 or 3 weeks.
Hopefully you won't have to charge travelers $100 a ticket to commute from New York to the Meadowlands, as I will be doing for
it's interesting,
Germany.
Andrew, and Eric and I were lucky that the LA28 and the U.S. Olympic Paralympic Committee, or Team USA, we share offices. And something we learned, we're so in the operational granular, let's make sure everything is right to have a good experience. But something we're learning from the World Cup is the excitement that was promised is here.
Yeah.
The U.S. is rallying around this. We're going to hear issues that we should, because we want it to be better. And I think something we're learning is that, yes, the promise for LA28 and the excitement it's going to bring to this country is real. It's going to happen. We're seeing that now, and we're looking forward.
I'm glad you brought that up, Ethan. I'd love to kind of poke at a little bit the soft power element of the games and how important is that to the U.S. and not at all getting political, but right now at this moment, considering everything that's going on in the world, the international brand of the United States and Team USA right now.
That's what separates the Olympic movement, the Paralympic movement from so many other sporting events. It is the time for athletes to come together and have 2 weeks to a month to understand that there's so much more that brings us together than separates us. Whether it's living in a village, whether it's meeting your idols, whether it's for some countries where an athlete has looked up to someone they're participating against. People who've never been to our country before, whether it's athletes, fans, sponsors, media. This is our chance to open our arms and open our doors to the world. It is the most powerful part of diplomacy outside the direct negotiations that our leaders do every day.
Excellent, excellent. Let me build on that for a second. A little slightly tougher, loaded.
Sure, go ahead.
As Eric was saying. So we're in a geopolitical moment right now that's crazy. I'll get very FP on you. Geopolitical realignment, climate stress, tech disruption, domestic political polarization. This is 2026. 2 years from now, it will be that times whatever to whatever power, or an entirely new set of issues. How do you prepare for an Olympics that might land in a significantly more complicated domestic and international environment than we even see right now? How do you create space for flexibility to respond to that?
Sure. So from the Team USA side, and Eric, I don't want to speak for you, please, but from the Team USA
You're
side.
happy for me to take that?
No, that's fine. There's a few things. One, our athletes want to compete against the very best. So how do we ensure that all athletes are able to attend? Because these are the world champions. So they want to know when they win that gold medal that they won that because they beat everyone else and showed their skills. So how do we ensure that all athletes are invited and can participate? Second, how do we ensure that all other athletes, all other National Olympic Committees can attend fully and easily? And that means working with the administration, which Eric and I all are intimately involved in, ensuring that athletes have mobility. So we hear a lot of the horror stories, but what you're not seeing behind the scenes is the work being done to ensure the athletes can attend. You're seeing that with the World Cup right now, and they are doing a job of showing us where the pressure points are. Third, how do we introduce to our country what it means to host the world, what it means to have people from different cultures, whether it's the athletes who are going to all be on the UCLA campus for that's the Global Athlete Village, or it's having Paralympics athletes who are have a physical disability competing and showing across the world that these are athletes, regardless of where they are and what their status is as well.
Right, got it.
Go ahead.
So that very helpful, and just to kind of build on that, because I think that's a really good point. So I would imagine from your protocol perspective, it's very complex, right? There's 200 plus delegations. They have their own governmental status, cultural expectations, diplomatic sensitivities. Right now, the U.S. and North America, Mexico, Canada, navigating how to treat Iran, which is playing in the World Cup. at a time when the U.S. and Iran are at war, open war, ceasefire, whatever it is right now, notwithstanding. How are you planning to navigate that? Is that in close, cooperation with those, geopolitical tensions? And Iran in particular, we were talking about this earlier.
Yeah.
A global powerhouse in freestyle wrestling. They have the gold medalists there. So that's a group that we'd want to have participate. How are you planning for their gold medalist from Paris, Mohammed Hadi Saravi, to compete in LA?
So let's take a step back and remember what the Olympic movement is about. The International Olympic Committee exists to have a games where athletes throughout the world can spend 2 to 4 weeks of their career in an environment with others who share the values of sport, of diplomacy, of sharing their skills. So it's top of mind that this should happen. And we want athletes from all across the world to experience that also. What you're seeing with the World Cup is a good starting point of saying, how do we accomplish this? And let's be clear, the Iranians will compete here. Now, where they're staying afterwards, I know we've talked about, they're not maybe in country, but by the time the Olympics gets here, that goal is to ensure the IOC's mission is met and the athletes can all be together.
Great. And Eric, let's talk a little bit about athletes from sanctioned countries, like Russia, if we would. We have allowed them in past to compete under a neutral flag, but that's still become a very complex geopolitical issue. How are we going to handle those public engagement and ceremonial protocols? Forget about the competition for those types of athletes without national representation due to broad international sports sanctions.
Yeah, so I guess from an LA28 perspective, I would say, first of all, that's a little bit above my pay grade. And I think a little bit more of an IOC question than LA28. I mean, this is a very oversimplification of the whole thing and how it's organized, but I would say as LA28, we are planning the party. We are doing everything that we can to create an environment where there's teamwork and collaboration, and we really think it's going to be both a shining moment for the United States and a shining moment for the world. So we're creating this. It's going to happen in 772 days. I don't want to say we're not concerned about any of this, because we are, but our job is to be an organizing committee, a host committee, and then create the conditions where the athletes who are coming can come and perform on the world stage.
It's interesting. Sorry, go ahead, Andy.
Please.
No. And I think Eric's exactly right. Right now, the IOC is still contemplating how Russian athletes will be able to participate. Will they participate under a neutral banner as individual athletes, or will Russia be allowed to compete as a National Olympic Committee? Still to be determined. Belarus has been invited back. What's nice with our LA colleagues, and something that you've said every time, is once the IOC makes a determination, LA28 will implement so that all athletes are welcome, whether it's as neutral athletes, under an independent flag, whether it's refugee athletes who don't have a home country right now due to forces outside their control, or it is someone representing their national flag. Yeah. And I appreciate y'all being ready to do that on a dime, because that changes weeks before sometimes the Olympics starts.
I know, it's very fast moving, so hard to talk about now. Let's talk a little bit about the Paralympics. The U.S. has a great tradition in the Paralympics, but Paralympic athletes and events historically receive a fraction of the coverage and attention that the mainstream Olympic Games receive from the media, from the public. What are we planning to do differently this time around to try and genuinely integrate the Paralympics into the overall event, rather than, oh yeah, these are the games that are happening with disabled people after the program is finished?
You want me to go first?
You start.
Okay, yeah.
I'm passionate about this stuff.
Yeah.
Please.
No, Ethan and I think both have a lot to say on this one. So, from an LA28 perspective, I'll say we are treating the Paralympics as equal to the Olympics. So the planning is going on together. They are not sort of a second-class games. We just released the competition schedule was just released last week. Tickets for the Paralympics are going to go on sale, I think, next year, and kind of these are going to be the largest Olympics. These are also going to be the largest Paralympics. So I think we've got 11,200 athletes coming to the Olympics in July, and then the Paralympics are going to have around 4,500. So we are, there's 23 sports. We're going to have 20 venues for that. We're adding paraclimbing, and just like the Olympics, this is going to be an elite sporting event. So I will say the excitement level for the Paralympics is within LA 28 is equal to the Olympics, which is an 11. So everybody's very excited about it, and we are treating it, as it should be, an elite sporting event for the athletes.
Ethan, how about your take?
Yeah, there's a few things here. One, the world under the International Olympic Committee and the International Paralympic Committee are divided into national committees. The U.S. is one of less than 7 countries where our Olympic and Paralympic Committee is one organization. Why is that important? Because it means that we can centralize the best resources, whether it's expert medical, expert sports training, expert nutrition, all together. Second,
Is that an unusual structure amongst
it's something that we are promoting, but it takes unique skills as well. And I think Saudi, there are some countries that have really led on this. Again, there are reasons sometimes the countries want to have them separate, but we think together is the right thing to do. Then the international federations that run the various sports. Is there a pathway that the sporting federations, such as ski and snowboard, can be combined, which they are now, so that they're providing the same support for able-bodied skiers as well as someone who happened to be born with one leg or lost a limb in war or some other way? Coming off of Milan, what struck me personally is that for the Paralympics, these are athletes that happen to have a disability. These are expert athletes. I mean, the sport was incredible, and what I'm expecting in LA is full stadiums, screaming fans, and really people lifting the movement even higher than it was before it started here. That's going to be a legacy that we'll be talking out for generations.
And LA is very excited about it. And this will be the first. So LA's hosted the Olympics in 32, 84. This will be the first time that they've hosted the Paralympics.
Oh, really?
So,
Yeah.
They're very excited about that. And just like I said, released the schedule the other day. We've got, I think, something that we're calling like Super Saturday, where there's going to be 15 medal events in one day, which has never been done before. So it's going to be great, and we're very excited about it.
Fantastic. I want to end. We only have a minute or so left, but I want to end on a what I hope is a positive and high note. We're at a time, and the three of us were just talking before, just before we came on stage, about the moment, which I referenced actually, if you were here at the beginning of this the summit earlier this morning, that the president brought the U.S. gold medal Olympic hockey team up into the balcony of the Senate to talk about Congress to talk about the win of the gold medal over Canada. And this is a divisive Congress, and it was not a State of the Union where many agreements were reached. The entire floor stood up for a standing ovation that lasted for minutes, and it was a really unifying moment for the United States. And since then, we seem to have, again, not getting political, but we seem to have devolved. And I'm curious how you feel, in addition to the natural unity the Olympics brings and nationalism, if you're thinking of leaning into that moment to create that national pride and unity, and how LA might be able to do that going forward in a couple of years' time.
Yeah, I'll just say, we are fully expecting that this is going to be, like I said, a great American moment. I mean, we're seeing it every day. We see the excitement in LA. We see it throughout the country. I mean, I go around DC as the federal relations person and talk to tons of people. Almost everybody I talk to is like, oh yeah, I registered for tickets. So, and what sort of a good indicator of that is that we sold, our first drop of tickets was around 4 million. We sold those like that. Like they sold out in a heartbeat.
So
and every
strong indicator.
50 states and I think like 35 countries or something. So it is, it's been a long time since we've had the Olympics. So, 96 Atlanta, 2002 Salt Lake City. It's been a long time. So there's a lot of pent-up excitement that I think is going to come to fruition in 2028.
We don't want to hold the senator because he's been so supportive of the Olympic movement. One vignette from the hockey players that came to the White House that we were really fortunate to help arrange on the invitation of President Trump, which reminded me something personally, that the institutions of our government matter. And when we brought the hockey players to the White House, watching their faces saying, I'm at the White House, wow. we forget sometimes that sports transcends politics, and those institutions are what all bind us together, and we're going to see that at LA 28 as well.
Fantastic. That's a great note to end on. Please join me in thanking Ethan and Eric, and we really look forward to a fantastic 2028 Olympics.
Thanks,
Thank
Andrew.
you.
Please.